size, but this is bound to be a good one as you have one team showcasing their raw new talent and the other going all in with the dive as we head into the pick and ban phase. I doubt there's going to be any Panther bans, but we'll see if there's any other targets.
AMER Frost off the rip this time around. Again, not too surprising here, which means that Zaytech will probably be on that Punisher, not the Psylocke that we had seen earlier on, before being able to see the protection for the Magneto for Ego Death.
Yeah, absolutely. Here again, one or the other. Oh my gosh, they're looking towards it. They don't want any of the smoke. They got a Black Panther ban. They're shutting down the King of Wakanda. Is this the comp? What? This is crazy. Wow, we saw the self ban.
Dude, the fact that they immediately were like, nah, we're good on that. And Madara even keep paying a little bit of homage, you know, hovering over that Black Panther themselves. But I'm not surprised. Shikigami already seeing what Self could do, being on that Black Panther, and what everybody else has talked about surrounding Self as a topic. They just rather play it safe, especially for this first map.
Yeah, and as funny as that is, but that does use one of their bans up, and those bans are crucial to shut down the full team. Again, Self does play Wolverine, Human Torch. He can flux a lot, but I think Shiki said if we're going to go down, we're not going to lose to the chaos. I mean, did you see that Storm highlight? The guy can go crazy, and they want to play dive. They want to play this. I mean, we just saw Energy play very dive focused. You know, Logan doesn't need backup. He is the backup approach, so we'll see if we do get that. As Zaytex is going to look to play Punisher. But on the top there, ban of Luna and save of Luna for Shiki.
Allowing Shiki to be able to take advantage of that Luna, while on the other side, we see the bans on Ultron, now Adam Warlock, and the Torch here too. So no flyers here to harass him from the skies, aside from maybe a Storm.
Yeah, and Ego's going to have their pick of the litter for strategists, really. I mean, maybe they save Invis here. You've got a lot kind of going for you. They can go with a Loki save as well. Again, this is why the Black Panther ban is fun, but you're leaving one of the better... Oh, they're going to go Cloak over Loki. That's going to be surprising. Yeah, they're going Cloak, okay.
Wow, okay. I mean, for momentum, right? Because I feel like Ego Death, in general, having momentum on Cloak and Dagger also really helped them out, just navigating through those ultimates and when to take advantage of that eternal bond. But let's get this started. We got our save and bans.
Yeah, that Terror Cape too, everybody with the ready ghost strat where everybody dives on one person can work well with Terror Cape when you have that damage amplified as everybody's locking in. Again, Wicca, 2 times MVP last time, played a lot of Invis this time on the Luna show. And downtown, we've got Wolverine, the Self. Oh, Spider-Man, is he getting... There's no way. I think he's just trying to get us here. But either way, he's going to put on a good time. I mean, it could be. That team up is gone, but look at the Penny Venom Spider-Man callback.
Don't get me excited. Don't get my hopes up. Flipping it on me after day number 1 here, you know, after my experience and taking all the action here in the Ignite series. It's been fun to watch these swap-ups in the spawn room door 2 as we take a look at our very first map.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't doubt them running something like this too. Like, they do want to put on a show. Once you get a little taste of the limelight, it's like, oh man, I want to do some more. And Panther not going to be that option, which I'm sure is what a lot of their game plan was around. They haven't seen that Black Panther target ban. Really, we haven't seen a ton of target bans because there is no one trick. Self is not a one trick. Obviously, he specializes in Black Panther, but the guy can play mini. As Krakoa is the stage, and it is our 3rd matchup of today, Vicky. This is going to be a good time.
I love how you highlighted that because Envy did not ban the Black Panther whatsoever. They didn't need to at that point, while Shikigami maybe feeling like they don't want to run that risk as we already get to see some portal plays being utilized with the Punisher turret.
Oh my God.
911, I just witnessed a murder. The way he just even witnessed that.
We saw Shiki do just that last time we saw them. The portal to start. They want the aggression. They want the smoke as Lawrence is showing that from the AR of Punisher. Oh my gosh, what a way to open.
It was the way that their backs were turned to the portal, like waiting for them to just walk up and feeling a little safe before they were able to just unleash the pressure, allowing Shikigami just to plant their feet on this point first.
Oh, we did it. I knew it. I knew they were going to put on a show here. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Peter Parker fans, we have Self going for the dive and the quick combo. And oh my God, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
Yeah, he looked at Luna once and Kuna once and just immediately got deleted. Now Shikigami having man advantage here just in terms of heads, taking over the point right now, just cycling around before Self just flies in from the heavens off that web.
Yeah, the thing about Spider-Man is he can come back so quickly, but my gosh, I missed that connection, unfortunately, and that's kind of how they lost against Envy. They took care of the back dive, and then it was a numbers game from there. Lawrence, though, Shiki is looking unshaken. They don't care about the crazy dive that we've been tuned up here. They're doing a great job showing that the stable meta show is doing the job.
You got the rest here with Lauren just putting in even more damage, getting up on the higher ground. Got the turret available to you here too. Don't even need her, gonna back away. Following up from the rest of Shikigami, and they got a plethora of ultimates here. Basically full ultimates on board for Shiki.
Yeah, I mean, they've got everything that they need. This is, again, about to be a light show. The Michael Bay special, as we like to call it, over here as casters. Here is the fastball special, though. I said this is what they like to do. The Thing and Wolverine, they play a lot of the same comps together. And look at Self, he's flying. Peter Pan up, ready to go for that back pick.
Oh, just getting into position, though. Not going to be finding anything just yet. Just waiting for the rest of the team to move up as they have some ultimates themselves. But they're keeping an eye on Self, specifically Kuna, who has just been a problem. But at least with the Luna Snow having the fate of both worlds is going to help you out. Magneto, although the Meteor, Kuna just putting themselves in the middle is going to be the one to take out.
Yeah, great ult there from Soko, but Lawrence doesn't care. He was alive. Unfortunately, the storm there, Kuna was caught in the crossfire. Agamotto, though, coming out from Madara. We've highlighted him a lot. Can he showcase what he can do as the Sorcerer Supreme? And it's a lot of pressure early, but it looks like Ego Death could get them out. There it is. So, with the one-man show of Wolverine.
Wolverine ult coming in, but Kuna still, even after getting taken out first of that fight, still finds two. That's fine. They're at 99%, still lingered for as long as possible for the flip happen from Ego.
Yeah, both teams using everything in the gas tank to get that fight. Obviously, Shikigami trying to just get the win. Ego Death trying to get the point for the first time. Look at, they're back. First TP out, second one ready to go. They've got the turrets online, and my gosh. Oh, it's both. There it is. Look at this. Outer portal.
A portal in a portal.
That was insane.
What? They were ready for it too. They got ready just to wait for it to happen.
Yeah, after that first one, I mean, they were like, we're not going to get caught in whatever that mess was again, as Pride is leading the charge on Loki. If he gets his Loki pick early, this would be massive. Forcing out the Lanterns, that's a huge cooldown, especially just for that one elimination prevention here as Sumble diving in as the Thing, Self trying to get that pick early, but Kuna gets that lock on Soko. That's a big pick early.
Kuna has been able to get all of these entry picks first, these crucial ones at that. Madara backs away in time. Self now just keeps slicing and dicing, but Kuna, once again, the nail in the coffin, preventing Self from getting any sort of momentum. Then you got to deal with the judgment now coming in from Lawrence just to clear out the rest of this point before they end up flipping it in overtime now in their favor.
Yeah, those Punisher ults, they don't ask questions, they end the conversations, and then we just saw it right there as they end the map, get the point, 100% for Shikigami. Ego Death, it was a little bit of trying to figure out their comp. They lost not only the first fight within milliseconds, but then the first point cap, and then they had a chance. There's just no momentum or chance for them. They've got to tighten it up here.
Kuna, they're popping off out here, not only with the 8 final hits, but following up from Lawrence. It's been these Punisher Storm duos that we keep seeing even from our last series, Cozy.
Yeah, Kuna Matata over here for Storm. I mean, just the 8 final hits, perfect job. No worries for the duelist. As Lawrence, the other shout out that we gave, just showcasing why Punisher is so crazy in this badge. Absolute monster. Again, there's just been no Hella. It's all Frank. You'll love to see it. They have the Omega Hurricane to open things up there. Shikigami probably looking to do that portal right away. Sumble going to cap, though. I've seen Sumble on cap. He does a great job. Again, a lot of pressure. And we do have the internal bond. So we're going to see how they respond after what was not a map one they wanted.
That's a good point here. Coming into the second round to see the economies and how they stand thus far, having that eternal ball like you mentioned, Soko too, with that Meteor. Shikigami, though, Kuna being on fire with Wicca, being on that Luna Snow just to give that support here temporarily, while Kuna now wraps around and has that Omega Hurricane.
Yeah, let's see if they end up using that to open up the fight. They've got everything else now ready to go too. Maybe Eternal Bond into Omega Hurricane action as we have the Eternal Bond coming out from far to open things up. Some pressure on early. Out of Canada, great job there. But we'll see if Soko is going to use this Meteorium now to shut down this dance from Wicca. And here's the eye, Vicky. And it gets a full connection. And oh my gosh, it's the Cat 5 Cat 6.
Oh, clean up on aisle 3. Maybe just just wiped the shells off with that. The Eye of Agamotto, the Omega Hurricane. I mean, they're already dead, literally, and Shikigami just let it unleash.
Yeah, shelter in place. I mean, that was a lot thrown at them at one. Shikigami using everything but pride. They didn't even need to use that at that point. Soko had no chance to even counter Wikazol. I mean, that was just all poetry. And Ego really's got to get things going here if they want to continue and move on and keep the dream alive. Let's see if Soko opens up. Or are they going to save this here for Lawrence? Most likely final judgment as the defense.
That was a big first pick from Zatex to get Kuna, being that problem right now too, but then you have to consider the Magneto Soko, the answer to counter the judgment. Ego Death with the clap back finally get to twist this and allow themselves to take the point.
Yeah, not only that, the control alt delete though. They got the meteor double elim, and then every other person just vanished like right after that. Really good job and patience from him. And Soko, great job just getting the team back sturdy. Self here on Iron Fist. Okay, we might see some Dragon Fury, Cheaper Town Hall. Let's see what we got.
He was on that Iron Fist too from the beginning. It looked like for the second round here. Ego Death now having to cycle through these ultimates with momentum, gonna be able to get the copy of the God of Mischief onto the Cloak and Dagger in lieu of that Eternal Bond here. Sambo though being able to take that teleporter, just trying to keep splitting up the attention from Shikigami before going right back to the rest of his team.
And this is a Sambo that we know. He's doing a lot better job of staying alive, not completely, getting complete focus, but getting that distraction, making that pressure, and most importantly, getting that space as the bro is going to be going in here immediately with that Eternal Bond, and Lawrence with the cleanup, now making it 3, and it's going to go right back over to Shiki.
No more Cheaper Town. Put that away here. Self gets immediately answered back here. Ego Death get wiped as Shikigami move right back without spending a lot of ultimates too. They're even about to have the Luna Snow Fade of both worlds here. They have the Eye of Agamotto, Pride 2 with the Magneto Meteor.
Yeah, they got plenty to combo here, and Far is going to have to really look out whenever they've got the Meteor M coming down. Zatex also a final judgment, but again, if Pride can connect this Meteor M, it's going to be the curtain call, at least in Krakoa here. 56, now 60%. Both were locked up as the fight commences, Vicky. Both teams won it. Who's going to get it?
And Far's got the Eternal Blonde. It's going to start up everything here for Ego Death. They lost out also from the beginning before the gap is closed. Wow, talk about a save here too. Just allowing Cytix to keep it up, but the Eye of Agamotto has found 3 right after the Eternal Bond has gone down. And now the answer back from Shikigami, giving Ego Death a taste of their own medicine. Self makes a desperate swap over to the Spider-Man, but Lawrence is already done with momentum. Momentum is off the table even after using that God of Mischief, and now dancing around, playing Ring Around the Rosie to avoid that meteor. Not going to find anybody here in Soko, and now Lawrence not only finishes him off, but finishes off Sambo.
Now Madara there with perfection, able to not only get the insane Agamotto, because they did, Ego did everything right there, but unfortunately they didn't account for Madara with a huge Agamotto, the big shield, and the finish. And this could be it for Krakoa as Shikigami looks to hold on and eliminate Ego Death.
Oh, it's just a matter of time, overtime ticking away, and no heads left to touch from Ego Death. Shikigami looking on top here for game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many storylines going on here. Again, Shikigami, new roster. They just didn't want to go 0-2. They're looking now to make it 1 game away from the playoffs if they can seal this match against Ego Death. And Ego Death, we said one-hit wonder potentially, and we saw the dive. They got a lot of the clips and the Twitter and the excitement, dopamine, but is it going to last? I'm wondering if with the lost shows of sides, if they can choose their side, if they're going to go with a Panther save to start out. But Self was on a lot of characters there, Vic.
Yeah, you also talked about it when we saw that initial ban immediately, that it does take up that extra slot, but then even trying to save, the Black Panther, you have to consider, you won't be able to have a strategist to save then instead here. So you have to consider your backline in that moment. What is enough to give? What should you take away here? But it's a lot of these adjustments that Shiki did their homework. They knew what to expect. Self was also just shut down consistently from Kuna.
Yeah, again, hashtag Kuna Matata is going to be my kind of sign call here for Shikigami. I feel like Self is all the Panthers I run into ladder. You see him with the Lord Panther icon. Panther gets banned, and then it's always like, Iron Fist, Spider-Man. These heroes that just have high skill ceilings, and Self wants to flex it. That map was just tough, though, to get that done. But I want to say solid play by everybody. Lawrence, though, consistent damage and pressure while you have to deal with Kuna in the sky. That's just a 1-2 punch.
And we're missing the magic too, by the way. Self, adding that to the arsenal probably in their own respective games here. But I definitely agree. Even that meteor that we saw from Soko and everyone just gets deleted right afterwards. It was a nice retake there, but Shiki answered back in such a great way.
Yeah, that's a great point. That team fight, Ego Death did everything right. And then the Agamotto happened, Madara, and then the shield block, and it kind of unfolded from there, unfortunately. And so they've got what it takes. We've seen these teams now a couple of times. The Shikigami looking to make it now to the next match as we have Ego Death picking the mode and the map. Do we see Panther? Do we have more dive coming? Oh, we're going to have to find out.
I'm excited because they also get to pick what side of the band they want to be on too. If they want to be able to have those triple bands back to back, if they're on the red team instead, is another consideration. Some teams like it. Some teams actually are fine without the triple band back to back. It's usually conversed whether which team likes one or the other. But we're gonna have to find out what map we're moving on to for game number 2. Don't go anywhere. We got some more action here for Ignite.
Welcome back, guys, to day 5 of Ignite here in America, and everybody's refreshed, recharged, and I hope you are thirsty for more because we've got another matchup between Shikigami and Ego Death and Vicky. I mean, there's a lot that we saw there, and I'm just thinking Shiki is playing fast and loose.
Man, Shiki is looking great. They've made some adjustments. You talk about building up that roster in real time, and they've also been able to nail down how to isolate maybe the strength, the win conditions that we have seen Ego Death put out before, even with a first-time Black Panther band that we have not seen in Ignite yet.
Yeah, and we're seeing, this Shikigami roster is being formed in real time. Like, Proda was not playing, they had somebody else, and now that had subbed in. Kuna was not on their starting roster, subbed in as well, I believe. And so we've got a lot of changes happening, but it is working. And for, Ego Death, let's see what they end up doing. They did go with the double ban up top slot again to choose defense. And we have Arako, the newest map, Vicky. Love this one.
I love the music on this map too. I've had a lot of fun on this map. I really like the low to high ground disparity between all points, actually, especially that low hilltop one. But we get to see the save onto the Emma Frost here, looking at Shikigami.
They go Panther here. Hold on.
Wait.
Do they save the Panther? This is they there's no way they would use this on Panther. You wouldn't think. He's got Hulk locked in. No, it's Mac. Okay, good. I'm glad we didn't get it away. I'm glad we and who knows, they might go with the back-to-back band so to keep the, it worked before. Why not do it again?
Oh yeah, they're hovering over it. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, this makes it the second time we've ever seen Black Panther banned now for a match.
Yeah, you got to take it as a tip of the cap to your performance and what they've seen. And again, it's just something that teams have not dealt with a ton, and they know that. And this would have been an insane Panther map, by the way. There's so many corridors and halls. And in fact, when we saw Shroud X versus Nemesis on this was probably my match of the day. It's just there's so much chaos that can happen in this, and chances to retake right before overtime. But we see a Human Torch save, which is what Self is probably going to lock into.
Yeah, not only do you see a lot of flanking hallways that allow a lot of, this harassment onto the backline to come out, but also that verticality that I mentioned also really enable out the Flyers to have a good amount of cover to weave around too.
Yeah, absolutely here. And they've got the Luna save to end things out. So quite... I love these pick and bans. Much different than what we've seen here from other teams. As we've got our last ban, and it looks like they're going to, get rid of another support, but also strategist, but also shut down what could be the triple res potentially here as we lock in our teams for Racco.
Okay, let's get this set up here. Shiki been putting on a performance thus far. Ego Death, though, this is a team with unorthodox compositions that have definitely left things exciting here too.
Yeah, and I like the approach here. I like the defense first for Ego Death. Again, loser gets to pick the map and the side, and so this is definitely you got to know what you got to do, right? If you can hold them, the bar you have to beat as we head into map 2. I know Ego Death does not want to lose the Shikigami. Stay calm, cool, collected. You guys are doing great, and we've got a good one heading your way. We'll see if we get the same roles for everybody. I know that the Magneto last time wasn't really the master of magnetism, it was tragnetism, and we're gonna hope we get a different result.
Tragnetism is crazy. Looking at
it is pretty crazy.
from the Magneto, and what could be different here too. I really, really like the aesthetics of this map as well, being introduced alongside with Ultron with some jamming music here. I also feel like it's a great position when you're on the defense. You can play a lot more aggressively, working around the angles when you take a look at the spawn room doors for the attacking side.
Yeah, absolutely here. And Zaytek, I love the Iron Man play here. Iron Man, definitely haven't seen a lot of them in this tournament, but good to see them together now. And Self on that torch, so they're going to master the skies. Kuna using that hunting of the animal, what Wolverine has in store for them. And we've got the Hulk again. We've seen some Hulk on this map. We did the other day, Vic.
Yeah, we have. It's great because then you just get to reposition immediately afterwards, whether it be to that high ground too, where a lot of other members here can't really give you that support unless you can jump there. With Self being able to find that focus onto Madara, though, is going to already set up Ego Death to take control and be a lot more aggressive around that next angle and that bridge. Also have to keep their wits about them and look to their six, because you know what's prowling about. And Kuna being the problem that Kuna was on that storm originally, and now being on that Wolverine, it's going to be something that Ego Death have to consider.
Yeah, Zaytex is going to have to be their focus because Iron Man can do a lot, but he also doesn't have a ton of survivability. And so if Self and him are not on the same targets locked in, we've seen it before. And oh my gosh, just like that Kuna from the skies. Kidnaps Iron Man, takes them down and gone before I can finish my statement as Lauren seals the deal.
Lawrence is ready. Frame one follows right there too, because they didn't even have enough time to call in the Amber Alert to report it in, and then we get to try to witness it again. Kuna then goes right back to the rest of the team just to be able to reset here too. Self still being the problem though, that Torch is up in the sky just to help keep up more of that aggression.
You can't do too much of this Gamma Beam because it just leaves you so ready for open fire, but they do have that maximum pulse, which is a great counter to Wicca's ultimate, and Zaytek getting that good payback on Kuna from kidnapping him from the sky earlier, now just putting the overdrive to use and the maximum Gamma Beam, and we're not Gamma Beam, the maximum beam here though, as they put the pressure back on and push Shikigami back.
I mean, the way that they're just pushing them back with all that damage up, but you would think it is, right? Because now Lawrence is going to be able to come out with the rest of Shikigami with that Omega Hurricane, I was about to say, just to cut them off and give Shiki the space. But then you got to think about the pulse. Nice way to kite away to avoid getting hit by that, because that would have been instant KO.
Really good escape, and I like the potential there, but now they don't have it for Wicca's ult. That was great use for Lawrence, even though they didn't get anything done with it. They did waste the Iron Man ult. Obviously, you can get it back pretty quickly here, but both teams pretty locked in on how much ult they can use here in terms of economy. Ego Death has everything they have at their disposal ready for this fight.
Even better, though, for Shiki, because now Porta doesn't have to worry about that maximum pulse to really utilize that eternal bond with. Now, this is going to help enable Shikigami once they use it, but it's Ego Death for momentum that uses it first here. Shiki will have Wicca and that Luna Snow ultimate here with the fate of both worlds, and at the same time the Psionic Seduction and the meteor coming in. Soko is going to be able to get restabilized with the invisible boundary. There's a landed mark here too as Kuna makes the swap up after getting taken out.
Bummer for Soko. They're unable to get that connection, and Shiki's just playing all gas here. Just so much aggression as they push in here with the Monster Hulk. You never want to see this coming at you when your strategist might be more scary than what we saw in Energy earlier with the Wolverine hunting, as now the DPS are cleaning up, and Lawrence getting that Cat 2, now 3, to push this point and get the first checkpoint here.
Just clearing everybody out as Ego Death now finally back to the drawing board to see if they have to make any swaps. So that was with Kuna, as I mentioned, making the swap over to the Hela, and was immediately able to get a pick off of Sambo.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge clutch switch when the time is right. We see this from a lot of teams. They'll quickly go to a hero just for a quick counter, or they'll stay and might as well use what you get and ult charge up, as Kuna is going to stay there locked on Hela, and it's going to help with Zaytex, obviously, in what he's been doing in the sky. Both teams set down to just about 0, with Wicca getting close to that fate of both worlds to set them up in this team fight versus potentially momentum, getting that internal bond as quickly as possible.
Wicca being able to get Data both worlds rather quickly here. Sambo up on high ground, still looking behind. Pride being right there too. Right around the corner though is Kuna, looking for the run back though. Forcing Sambo to just navigate away, but not only that's that, just trying to find an opening here before getting that dive. Lawrence gets that first pick onto Zaytex, and then the freeze, trying to get away. Sambo gets deleted in the progress, and it is staggering through, just looking at the progress here, right here from Ego Death.
Yeah, we kind of seen this, right? This has been stagger from this team that happens when you play dive, and some are playing a lot cleaner and a great map awareness, but unfortunately a little too late as we now have the Eternal Bond setting things up. Lawrence going in from the sky, the Omega Hurricane coming down. Can we get a limb? But no, here comes Soko. Can he redeem himself? It does not connect, Vicky.
The fact that Lawrence has gotten away twice now away from that meteor too, and now then the attempt from the Iron Man ultimate earlier on before the swap we saw up. It's clean up here once again for Shikigami. Kuna being on this Hella though is the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, God, Hella just she doesn't team fight. She hosts funerals. I mean, just fantastic play. And Zaytex now swapping, getting that Hella v Hella. This is a callback to MRI a little bit. We haven't had a lot of Hella action outside of the Lin 100 Thieves and a couple other play. But this will be fun as we see the Goddess of Death at her work here.
Literally on brand right here too. If she's attending your funeral, I'll be honored out here. Especially with the way that Kuna is playing that Hella into his positioning. Looking at Ego Death, though, taking onto the high ground. Also a good spot to hold just for right now, considering that Self does have that Supernova. Yeah, the Supernova is going to be huge here for not only the pressure and the space, but should be able to clean up a lot because they're going to kind of be stuck under this bridge. They know that, though. They're spaced out accordingly. Love the way Lawrence is kind of playing protector over the two strategists in the back line. Bar staying tight there and trying to get something going as we have Monster Hulk, though, Bride jumping in and going for some elite limbs, but they immediately just get him down. Self, great job there. Yeah, Self being able to target that too. Zaytek also having that Goddess of Death, but it's about clearing out, being on the bottom end of this bridge first. Nice way for Ego Death to take these different positionings here. Pride is on the way back too with the rest of Shikigami, but they lose out on Kuna just to wait it out. Sambo trying to hide Venom's giant body behind that little pillar. Gotta love it. Gotta do what you can do there. As you know, sometimes all it takes is one team fight to get everything back on track. We'll see if this was it for Ego Death. But look at this. We've got Sambo the Venom trying to get chased down, but he flips the script on Kuna, taking her down. That was huge. That was a great 1v1 to take here too. And the follow-up as well, being able to be found from Momentum onto Lawrence this time too. So it's a trade from both angles. Lawrence coming back with that Omega Hurricane too, as well as Proto with that Cloak and Dagger ultimate, just to be able to close in that gap here. But Sambo's still holding on to that ultimate, just waiting for that opportunity. Yeah, just about every Q is about to be ready for this fight. And again, it's going to be like a Marvel crossover event. We're going to see if every ultimate gets dropped at the same time here as Pride going on the point, trying to get that space over early. Self still has that Supernova. He can use it, get that pressure. But there we go. We got the Goddess of Death going up. Zaytex trying to get an all-important pick in the whole team. Shiki just playing a little hide and seek. That was a great call out from Shiki because tracking those ultimates, knowing that the Goddess of Death was available for Ego Death to utilize before, now transitioning through the building. Omega Hurricane, the invisible boundary, the meteor now coming in, finds Kuna instead. No need to deal with an Omega Hurricane if you're Soko. Being able to wrap around with Momentum, who had put down that Eternal Bond in the form of Cloak and Dagger. Now Moderate with the Psionic Seduction, just trying to force Ego Death off from that high ground. But they're playing so split up, it's kind of staggering Shiki to really realize here. Yeah, the time has just dissipated here. And Soko, great job with that connection. It's like Curry from the three-point line. You get one, you can start getting them all as he gets that connection going. Now, Moderate is going to get two, though. This should give him enough to get that space. 8 seconds right in time. But this is going to go into overtime. And it's going to be the first teamwork to have it. This is a tough corner, and they should have even potentially 2 fights that they can take if you are going to be Ego Death. Can they do it, Vicky? Depends on this whole economy here. I'm thinking Lawrence, who was trying to get that Omega Hurricane, but is caught out first from Soko. Then you have to think about the Emma Frost here from Moderate, who's just trying to hold the front line together. With Wicca going down, though, losing both of your strategists. Shikigami are losing heads faster than Ego Death, rolling out to put a stop to everything here as they hold their defense. Luna Snow, more like the losing show with Self there. Great job and a good pick there. I mean, that was really what had the momentum going. They got both strategists and they stopped him right there. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes it takes that one win of the team fight to kind of get momentum back in your direction, and they did just that. It's even better when the first pick you get is onto the one player that is closest to that ult, and I don't believe Ego Death had any strategist ult to deal with that in that moment of that run. So, and you know how quickly Storm gets that Omega Hurricane, especially when you have that Goddess booth really helping you out and finding those marks. So even better first pick right there too for Ego Death to isolate.
great point. Crucial fight in the neutral right there. Nobody having anything really, to be able to work up ult-wise. They just both extinguish all of them. And then you've got Self into the snowball from there. Those neutral fights can do so much for aiding the results. And we see Self here coming back to form, 17K on Torch with 5. And if you look across the board, everybody doing a fantastic job on the side of Ego Death, but also Shiki. I mean, look at Lawrence on Thing. I mean, obviously switch around to some characters, but great job there in damage.
Yeah, we saw Lawrence doing a really good job making the swaps that they needed to do. We saw the hell out 1.2. Seeing what we're gonna roll out though, looking at Ego Death, you want to be able to ride out with this momentum, especially after letting Sambo rock on that Venom.
Yeah, triple Vanguard into triple Strategist for Shikigami here on defense, locked in, and look at them right next to the store. Look at Madara right there, ready for a quick diamond form kick to the face. We're gonna get it right away. We'll have to see as Soko is being kind of pushed back. They were not. Shiki is so aggressive, Vicky. I love it.
Literally like throwing hands in the spawn room doors, and then you have to worry about getting command grab from Madara into Pride, having those brute walls available just to help follow up and deal even more damage that you got to think about. That's also blocking out the strategists and their own line of sight and preventing you from getting reset here too. Ego Death now coming out though, and with Self being on this torch, still putting in a good amount of that pressure, trying to negate that from Madara, who is still holding in the front line.
Huge pick there on the Groot. They did use that rocket respawn there. Again, they've got the triple Vanguard into all this support. So they're trying to get these ults up and then they can hold the line. But Self looking to get that pressure on early. We do have a rocket ult. And look at that hiding behind the box. Great job to prevent them from being able to burn it down. Love the placement there.
I really like Arako for reasons like this too. You know how aggressive it could be right out of the gates, but you have so much to just kite around as well. Just trying to negate that Sia here. Ego Death could be able to come out. Momentum having that God of Mischief. Sambo 2 with the clobbering time as well as Far now coming in with the invisible boundary.
Yeah, now Ego Death has everything they need. They use a clobber time to slam down, and that's going to force out the Luna. And right now we've got the momentum having, okay, this is a stalemate at the spawn room. Chaos unfolds as we have Madara now with the Emma ult.
The fact that everyone's fighting for their life, and then you have both Luna Snows doing beta both worlds. They're having their own dance off here, and now the other ults follow. They trickle in together. The difference is Ego Death having momentum, having that Loki. They've used up those lamps. They've helped up the sustainability, and Self following up is able to get 2 crucial picks here. Ego Death finally have maybe a little bit of room to breathe.
No more Dragonism, right? As I said, I mean, I think that once you hit one, you get the confidence. Like I said, I think Soko did a good job there getting that rocket out of there, and Self did exactly what they did last time, just followed up on it. Fantastic job there. Again, Kuna though going over to Hela now. Keep the switch, and Lawrence on Iron Man for the swap up from the triple Vanguard and Strategist to this.
Really Sambo, who really felt himself after that clobbering time. He's slowly approaching again before he made the swap now over to the Venom, at least to get to this second, or rather this first checkpoint, but getting around that second corner rather. Lawrence as well in disguise being on this Iron Man. This is a great position to hold too. You have that low to high ground that you could play very split.
Yeah, we have Zatex now with the Punisher trying to counter that Iron Man, and there's the Supernova. Someone's got to get that fire extinguisher, and there it comes right on time as Wicca is able to keep the team alive, copying Pros Luna and getting that bid. Both worlds has Coachella out there, but once again, we have Ego Death matching the dance show, and it's just 12 seconds of invincibility.
And Lawrence was out of the range of the fate of both worlds once it was used up for Shiki, so they also lose out on Pride, who was about to have that strangling prison gear too. Then you have Self that just keeps holding forward and finding even more of these picks together with Zatex.
Only 1 minute left, and that's all they will need as they claim this point. This is a tough one to get to. We've seen Portals come in last second and win it in terms of Nemesis, so great job. Ego Death looking like they're playing aggressive. A little bit angry, Vicky, after that first loss.
I don't blame them. It's about making a statement here. You know, talking to Ego Death, unsigned team looking to make a statement. Self already up on this high ground with some help. Together here with Soko. To be able to fight for this high ground is important too, because you get to split their attention without giving up too much positioning when you still have that convoy moving forward.
Yeah, again, I really like Torch on this map. He can really just maneuver and use the whole terrain to his advantage. We have ults ready for all of them outside of Momentum, and a couple on Wicca using those Luna Snow ults earlier. Oh, can they get the pick? And barely surviving is Lawrence, and here comes the Berserker. But Kuna instead gets traded. Momentum with the finish, Vicky.
Momentum being on this Loki has made a lot of difference here for Ego Death, I feel like. Not only being able to shut down the attempt from Kuna right there, being on the Wolverine, but now making space. Zatex to follow up. Afterwards, Self is being enabled. Soko having that Meteor also to go, as well as Sumble, in case Sumble needs to reset their health.
Yeah, and Zatex really just heating up as well. I mean, honestly, when they are on it, Self and him together can go crazy. We're seeing that right now with Frank as he pumps out the shotgun, creating that pressure in space. 2 minutes on the clock. They already got up the hill. That's the hardest part, Vicky. And there's not a lot left in the tank. They're going into immediate invisible boundaries here. Lawrence does have that ult. Will he use it right here?
Frank with the shotgun just backing away. No maximum pulse. You get shut down by Sumble. The Meteor then coming up next, and Zatex finding Madara. That's 2 off the table for Shiki. Pride, though, just stalling for as long as possible, and then immediately got booted out. No longer the Bruce Banner standing on top of the field. Currently, this is just all momentum in favor for Ego Death.
They're playing angry, and again, just the ult tracking for both these teams have been phenomenal. I mean, Soko was ready to do that Meteor M the moment he even heard Tony Stark whisper a word. Great job there as they're able to clean up a tough part of the point, and this is it. They can get it 1-1. They're playing angry. Let's see if it pays off for them. They've got to win this first bit, and they've got the ults to do so in terms of economy.
They're already moving up here, too, on the high ground. They're trying to deny this space from Shikigami here, and looking at ult economy, being able to have that fate of both worlds is going to come in clutch, because then you have to worry about Zatex having that final judgment here, as well as Self with the Supernova. But who do you prioritize here, as Supernova is the first to come out? Proto then activates a fate of both worlds, which means they have to really rely on Wicca to get this invisible boundary here to just deal with Zatex and the judgment.
The Supernova just does so much on its. Oh my gosh, he sets up the splash. It just does so much on its own. You have to respond to it. He used the ultimate. I mean, right now, Ego Death is looking lights out as they get the clear once again. Only so much time. They got 2 minutes left for the push. Sumble playing on point. Zatex, Self, they're locked in.
They're looking so good, and you know, from Shikigami's side, Wicca was so close to the invisible boundary too. Just looking at what Ego Death had came out with that Supernova, and Ego Death have so much to answer to. Omega Hurricane now coming in from Kuna, but the final judgment coming into from Zatex. Can't really even show your face. You'll get burned almost immediately here too. Got a mission that looked like we were trying to follow up here from that, as momentum now coming in lieu of the invisible, and with the invisible boundary, one by one, Zatex and Sumble together find more Shikigami's heads.
Just absolute perfect play from about a minute after the spawn room from Ego Death. And I'm saying Self with Human Torch taking Marvel Rivals Ignite to the literal sense. Insane job from Ego Death to now make this a 1-1.
Dude, that was crazy looking here for Ego Death, man. That was crazy here. Ego Death, wow. The way that they were able to turn that around, while Shikigami being able to have a lot more of that momentum on their side after their domination for Krakoa, to then turn that around here, looking back around to immediately, when you come up with winning that first map, you go into that second map, you know, trying to ride out that momentum. It was just put a stop to it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could see them all with scowls on their face while they're playing too, just like angry playing. Like, it felt like they were ready. They know who they are and what they could do. And again, Sumble promised me a show. They just put one on Araco. Now, 42,000 damage, 14 elims for Self. Yeah, enemies are getting barbecued. That's medium rare.
You can try to ban the Black Panther, but Human Torch on Araco goes crazy here, as displayed too. Even with some quick swap ups from Shikigami, their attack looking a little, you know, shaky. They definitely had their moments of momentum. It was really that second point that they had to fight through, truly. But then once they were the ones on the defense, it was so difficult to even hold the second checkpoint. Whereas Ego Death, on the other hand, they held it really nicely when they were on the defense. They held that much more split positioning that forced Shikigami to look like chameleons looking at 2 different angles at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see a lot of teams push with those triple Vanguard comps at the spawn room because you get, so many more times to be able to hold that first point, but they really only got that second time, and the staggers happen, and they're team swapping and the character switching. They went, in fact, I think Shiki switched 3-4 times at one point, and so they kind of felt like Ego on the Dom map, where they just didn't have an identity for what they wanted to do on defense after what was the locked-in triple Vanguard and strategist play.
It's a really good point. It did look like just not only being able to find out what they wanted to stick to here, but then not able to take care of the problems, man. That dive from Self, even right there, once the end of the Fate of Both Worlds was activated, was insane. Not only the damage output coming out of Ego Death on their attack was fantastic, but even on their defense, holding the position that they did was great.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if control was an art, I think Soko with Magneto just made a masterpiece with what he was able to do defensively, and again, the patience that he was able to have. Across the board, really the big separation there was, I think, the duelists stepped it up massively. I mean, I'm not saying they were non-existent map one, but it almost felt like that, and then that was the Self and Zatex show, and they kind of bounce off each other. Don't you see that? Like, it's one does well and the other one just folds with it. And of course, rivals, obviously, if your team's getting wiped, you can't solo or anything, but they kind of this deadly duo together. And with that, guys, we have a lot coming. It's 1-1. It's been 2-0 show, 1-1. We have a huge matchup coming between the two. Winner is going to move on. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. This is what you come here for in Marvel Rivals Ignite. Our two teams with a dream, and you've got Shikigami and what they did in Domination and Ego Death with the response. And they must have heard the one track wonder, because they've got multiple tracks. They are absolutely showcasing that. But I know, Vicky, I know the viewers out there, they want to see T'Challa. They want to see some Black Panther.
I mean, I want to see some Black Panther, but is it even going to snake by? I feel like Shiki's not going to let that, especially now that we finally have a map 3 on our hands, Cozy. Sabo told you that he was going to make things entertaining. Well, they are definitely making things entertaining for us. We were waiting for this moment, a 1-1 situation now taking us all the distance for a game 3. I feel like now with Shiki seeing that Self, it's not just the Black Panther, it's the Torch. Also, I would like to highlight that map dependent too. I feel like we were talking about it before going into Arako, but I feel like that's a really good map for Flyers in general. But then you could say the same thing about Kuna being on the Storm.
Oh, and another good Flyer map, Central Park. This is going to be huge. Usually a lot of Johnny Storm bans here. And I got to shout out, by the way, the whole Fantastic Four. Far had 15k near damage on Invisible Woman and 36k healing. I mean, that was more almost than Kuna had in damage. So just great job from Far. We'll see if we get the same play. By the way, there it is, the Black Panther ban. We can get that out of the way. No Wakanda today.
Boo. No, I'm joking. I understand here. Yeah, I know everybody was hyped behind it, but it's completely understandable. From Shikigami's point of view, this is that win condition that Ego Death likes to lean on. That's how they were able to get that first big win within the first week of the Ignite bracket. And now, not going to make sure it's going to sneak by this time around. And looking on the other side, though, the triple ban on the side of Ego Death, getting rid of that Doctor Strange and that Torch.
Look at them both highlighting Torch at the same time. They know, I know this on ladder. I'm like, I'm not having no Torch. And he could just go off, and it was kind of made for him. It launched when he came out, right? So definitely a solid hero. Love the Strange ban here from Ego Death. Definitely a tough hero to play with portal-wise in this. And we know Shikigami, my gosh, do they like their portals, right? So they're just going to shut that down right away. The first Strange ban that I have seen, at least right now, in Ignite, I believe. So cool to see some things swap up here as Luna is saved from Shiki.
It's interesting. I think actually it's like, well, like the third one officially, if anything, but still barely anything compared to what we see between Loki, Magneto, Emma Frost. The save, though, onto the Luna Snow inside of Ego Death, and on the other side to match that from Shiki, we saw that too for their save on that Luna. Wondering what that last ban's gonna be as they highlight Loki.
Yeah, no triple res, no at least Torch flying up there. Kuna definitely gonna be probably locking in the Storm on this one, although showing Squirrel Girl, who can go crazy on this map. I don't think we're going to see her, but can honestly just go wild. As both teams are ready to go, we've got the saves of Luna, the saves of him, and the mirrors, and then that ban on Loki to end it. Momentum doing a great job on Loki last time, and I think they respect that now as Momentum is switching over to Cloak.
It's about catching them off guard. When off the rip Self comes in, with that Black Panther band, having to flex over to Iron Fist. I saw at one point the Spider-Man, and then coming out playing for real with that torch as we get set up here. Shikigami too to reflect that, looking like they were hovering over that Punisher.
And listen, guys, again, this is the old build, not the new build. And so we do see self-showcasing Hawkeye, and maybe we get that Luna and Hawkeye team up that has not been changed in this patch. Now, Zaytek's very good Psylocke. We saw Tap go off earlier. We saw that on day 2, I believe, with him. So I'm excited to see if Zaytek does end up playing Psylocke. Great map for that as well, and good little dive that you can use. I think this is actually such a good dive map. Obviously, against Envy didn't work out for them, but you know, they're not playing Envy. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, different strategy here before we get set up at the same time. And I'm gonna be able to see the Wolverine and the Thing coming in from Ego Death.
Yeah, we've got farther on Luna. Self now going to Wolverine. We're gonna have that fastball special. See if Sambo throws him in, try to get Kuna from the sky. Again, I was saying Kuna Matata. There's definitely worries now with Self on Wolverine. Zaytek's trying to get an opening picking, taking the side route that could be lethal.
I mean, not for the rest of their days, but at least for this map specifically, if they have to wonder if they want to stay here in the tournament now. Both these teams just staying to give another chance in this Elam bracket. Currently, Zaytek's well with the follow-up and the power, by the way, with the mental projection that Emma Frost has to allow it to try to get even more pressure in. Zaytek being able to get away. Ego Death already fighting these 2 picks onto Shikigami.
Yeah, this is looking like a much different story that we saw against Envy, as now Ego Death has a very clean cap. I mean, that is beautiful. And guess what? They got rid of Doctor Strange. Shiki can portal back. So this is going to be their point. And look at them just put the aggression on. If you're an Ego Death fan, that's exactly what you want to see. And great job highlighting the Emma Frost there, getting that team up over to Zaytek, letting him do what he does best.
It's about just dealing with all this onslaught of extra damage. If you could even get away in terms of what Kuda could do, can't even fly away. Zaytek just keeps up this pressure here, side by side with Self, and they have a bunch of ultimates now coming up too.
Here comes the ult right here. Yep. I mean, they don't have anything to defend this. They do have Wicca. Is Wicca going to use it at the last second? Now all their ults are coming online. So just seconds too late.
The Hail Mary coming in the very last second, the fate of both worlds, just to enable Lawrence to activate that final judgment. Where are you? Salak hiding in the corner. Just a pixel. They caught them out. Oh. Zaytek can't get away. Literally, if you looked at Zaytek's like direction, just blew up in an instant.
Beekaboo. Yeah, I mean, that was on the millisecond that all their ults came online. Whenever the Psylocke ult hit, I mean, you could not have scripted that more like a Marvel movie. We've got Infinity War unfolding before us. Love this top shot here. This is great to see where everyone's going. You can see Sample there on the top as Venom trying to get that hit, and there is the team up. We've got the Self through the walls of the Ice Arrow.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for the opportunity, especially around this next corner together. See if anyone gets a one on Takuna, gets away. The Omega Hurricane online for Shiki. Can be able to back away with momentum, just trying to help enable the rest of Ego Death with this Eternal Bond. Here comes a Psionic Seduction here before you try to turn around immediately afterwards. And then Kuna gets taken out. Zaytek's just been constantly there to shut down Kuna. Wicca goes down next. The backlines is getting torn apart, while the rest of Shiki are going to meet them back in the spawn.
Yeah, Madara was doing great, just pushing them with the ult, but in the backline, Sambo and friends just going off. I mean, that was a great performance from Shiki until the backline, obviously, is what you're going to need to stay up. That folded out, and it looks like Ego Death is looking strong, but here comes the Hurricane.
Oh, nice shot right there, too, before the Omega Hurricane comes in to stop what? Because there's nobody left to contest there on the convoy. Shikigami, it's going to have to be another reset here for Kuna to jump off the map.
Yo, one-hit wonder. Self's got multi-platinum albums. I mean, he's playing every hero in the game. He's got Hawkeye now locked in, loaded. Zaytek has yet another dance of the butterflies. Here it comes. We're going to get that back line. There's no strategist ult to defend this. This is going to be a momentum changer. If he can land this on the strategist, they've got to be aware. Both teams very good with the ult tracking, and Zaytek's just looking for his opportunity.
Oh, no. Oh, we've all been there. Wicca was like, I just showed up right now, and Zaytek is not letting loose. And the butterfly's ready to go, trying to get into position right here while holding that mental projection available, just trying to isolate the Loki. Wicca about to have the God of Mischief, and Proto then follows up to shut down Zaytek's, leave my other support alone. Ego Death, though, Far is about to have that fate of both worlds.
I don't think Zaytek was expecting to get Lawrence to grab him with a grapple hook. He was trying to get out of there. It didn't work out. There's the through the payload and the freeze and the jump and the finish. vanish with Self on Hawkeye. Oh, and there's a grapple. Huge to shut down a Hawkeye ultimate, Vicky.
Lords can only do so much, though, when the rest of the team is pushing forward and Shikigami are getting torn apart. Yes, you get that one big pick, and now we get a quick swap up because Eagle Death, they could run the Doctor Strange.
Oh my gosh, at this point, it's 0.39 meters. They make it barely with the Luna ult, and now we have Self trying to come back with the Strange Pool, as you just said, coming in far, though, finishing off the job on Kuna, and right now, Shiki's just trying to do whatever they can to stop what would be a collapse of a defense, so 3 minutes left on the clock.
But the clobbering time have found 3, and Momentum now finally just got the Eternal Bond. Yes, they lost out on Far earlier on in that fight here, but they have the sustainability to match that. Shikigami now coming out, just trying to stay alive with Ego Death, though. They have wiped them out to take this cover to the finish line.
You could not have gotten what a flip of the story. Like I just said when we opened up, Envy showcased that earlier in the tournament, that if you lose map 1, it's fine. You can show what you have with the rest. And we have just seen a lights out performance from Ego Death. In the story, Vicky, has been the back line. These poor strategists of Shikigami, they're getting one big play, but then the team folds.
Dude, it's so hard when you have to worry about Zatex too, and then Self making these swap ups, whether it be the Doctor Strange at the very end there, the Hawkeye from what we've seen. It's already giving the impression that Self probably has every duelist already as a Lord icon.
Yeah, right. No, Self is straight up has played every hero that I've spectated phenomenally. And that's what happens. You know, you get the Panther block, you know, you block it from the people, but then you've got Self going off on Hawkeye. And again, this was the pre-build, so you're getting that crazy team up that has been nerfed pretty heavily, actually. The spell field damage, everything about it. And they're using it to the fullest degree right here, right now. Zatex too, I think you called it out great. They've got those echoes. They've got the Emma Frost team up to use just extra damage and to power up Zatex, who's already insane on Psylocke.
About that burst damage there, and I really like the positioning. I want to highlight from Sambo and Soko together is allowing them to get these crucial picks off the backline, whether it be Wicca being forced out to use those lanterns, which I think is also really important to highlight here, because then that enables the front line of Eagle Death to get even more aggressive.
Yeah, without question. And right now, Shikigami has to put on an offense of the ages if they want to keep the dream alive. Again, they didn't want to go 0-2. They won a match. Now they're looking for more, looking for a spot in the playoffs. The winner will get to go to the game to prove that and make that Cinderella story, like we've seen happen with Techie, happen. We'll see if Shiki can do it.
Oh, look at this position. Zatex just backing away. Did not find an opportunity right there, so called it off. Understanding that that just would have been a pickoff onto Zatex instead. Madara down closing in the distance. Pride right there being on the thing, just trying to make the magic happen alongside Madara.
Yeah, I just love watching Sambo run on the walls. It's like just the best visual possible. As Self now is trying to get that poke damage early, trying to get that freeze hit. Ooh, does get that nice slash, and there's trades with Zatex on the strat. And this is the story. We've seen this over and over. Every fight starts with a scream and ends with a backline funeral.
Just pushing them all the way forward with Ego Death now planting their feet, just shoving Shikigami back in the spawn.
I mean, it's a horror movie for the backline. They don't peel, they pounce, and it's just so much to deal with all at once. Even without Panther, they can bounce with Zatex. Self putting on that pressure early with the one-shot potential. This is exactly what you want for Ego Death. You're a fan.
And when you're looking at Zatex right now too, currently see the Dance of the Butterflies almost active here, and Ego Death have a bunch of ultimates to also try to negate through that damage, but Wicca getting picked out first. Ego Death just keep dwindling Shikigami's time bank away to get to the first point.
In the neutral too, so lethal. I mean, that's going to be a massive momentum changer, as now they only have Crow's ult. Obviously, Wicca going to make the way back here in just a moment. Who's going to use the ults first? It's the practice of patience. It's the neutral fight. Self does great in these. Does he get the freeze down low? I think he popped it off just right. And we've got everything ready for that Michael Bay special.
Ooh, and then they're circling around them. Look on the other side of the corridor. Ego Death are trying to go in for a sandwich, but even right there through the Phantom Bolt bolts, it's not going to be enough to keep Chiki alive here. He still finds that huge pick too, right through it all here. Self is a problem, and they're trying to isolate it.
Don't forget Robin Hood. He gets some freeze through the pillar with the headshot. That was just absolute beauty. What the hell? That was great. Self. Insane job there. Again, and both teams have their ultimates ready to go. A lot of that was just in the neutral with the abilities. And you know what? You might as well call that team up an ultimate, though. That's insane.
The 1-2 Scooby-Doo with the way that they're approaching this right now. Literally, partners in crimes, the way that Ego Death is now side by side here. They have a bunch of ultimates here. Same thing for Shikigami, though. I'm looking at Lawrence now with that judgment.
Absolutely insane. No scope, no mercy here as Lawrence is now putting on final judgment. You've got that combo they look for. You've got to get the win here. If you're Shikigami self, though, getting that pick on Proto is going to slow things down massively. But 2 for Shikigami, Vicky, as it looks like that hurricane is going to come down from Kuna.
Oh, the Omega Hurricane is going to be the nail in the coffin, but I like the way Ego Death are just trying to kite away before maybe trying to see if they could re-engage, because Self is the problem, looking to see if they could get an angle here alongside Far. He's going to back up. They're going to be able to give it to them. Thus, for right now, the group wall is being put up by Pride.
Zatex went to Strange. I was going to call out the portal, but it was too little too late. Unfortunately, here comes the portal, but there it goes. I like the swap, and definitely a good attempt here, but Shikigami does get the point, and maybe that does turn momentum. Look at Self, just like the Olymp feed is insane.
Dude, if I was Proto or Wicca, it is lights out. Momentum boomed, mental boomed with the way that even in these neutral fights, Self is still finding these insane pickoffs, because it also just slightly staggers that ultimate chart too. You have to consider.
Yeah, every shot just feels personal, I'm telling you, after that first map loss here. But hey, they're doing a good job pushing right now. 2 minutes and 42 on the clock, and you've got a full Ego Death gather up here. They're gonna see if they can chase things. Stumble up top. It was found by Lawrence. Get that damage out fast. I like the swap for Lawrence to Psylocke, and they do have Pride to open things up with the group hug of Groot.
Nice note here too, with Everfrost being available from both sides. Mental projection being able to be utilized from both sides. Soko first uses the Psionic Seduction here first, but the group walls from Pride does help alleviate more of that pressure away from Shikigami, as now together in the fate of both worlds, they move all the way up to get aggressive.
Yeah, it's the Luna show right now, and Soko is just riding the dance floor with Zatek all the way up to the spawn. Very good flip there, and not using everything. They still have Self now, who has swapped over to Wolverine, and all you need sometimes is just a Wolf ult to get the entire job done. Zatek's also about to get there for the Dance of the Butterflies. They have what they need to hold a little longer. Shikigami has just about everything
to try to counter it, but sometimes it just has not worked out for them. You can hear the Psylocke though, try to go invisible. Zatex would just meet up, or it's just up on the high ground here. Looking at Sambo too, who's also just trying to run around on top of these walls before diving right back in, and momentum with the Eternal Bond can keep them in this fight here. It's activated first, and Self finds that first pick onto Pride.
Yeah, Pride has now had that Groot ult now for 3 different battles, and unfortunately just a good swap there from Self, switching in. Look at momentum with the Terror Cape double elim. I mean, it's just the perfect counter show, and everybody playing their part to perfection right now. Ego Death has a minute to advance and completely wipe clean, and they promise to show we're getting it right now, Vicky.
I love this from Ego Death, and that was after they had lost out on that first map. And look at this complete shift of momentum now as Madara just comes out. It's a diamond immediately. Self gets the kidnap over to the back end here too. Activates the Enrage here, just trying to swipe around, deal enough of that damage, and still trying to isolate. Fate of both worlds now activated too here as the Omega Hurricane comes out. It's the insurance policy just to enable this to have even more of an impact from Kuna.
Yeah, big elim on Zatex there before they could ult. That was huge, and the pick early to clean things up with Kuna Matata over there, finishing up, getting the limbs on the supports in the back, and now they're able. This is what we just saw in point 1. It was a struggle, and then they got things together, but there's going to be one more fight. Ego Death could end it all right here. Shikigami, though, been dope break. They got 3 ults to get the job. Never sold the Gru ult. Now it's thing. We'll see if clobbering time setup can get something going.
You have time here. Far's also about to get the fate of both worlds here. Zatex just tries to find an opportunity through the back. They know Wicca does have that God of Mischief that he just used up right now too. Trying to isolate and fight where Zatex is. It's a fate of both worlds that is activated now. Far too. It's a dance off from both sides here, and that's the Loki that's completely concealed with that fate of both worlds. Sambo comes in though, gets the double of the Venom ultimate, and then Zatex is the nail in the coffin, the finishing blow to sub any chance Shikigami has at life in this bracket.
Right, literally the Luna I can't believe the Luna Snow to the Lucent Show, the Delusion Show, double Luna Elim right there from Sambo, just munching up with the symbiote, and welcome to the jungle. Ego Death, who hunt and dive their prey, got it done, and they are advancing. Vicky, what just happened?
The best counter that Sambo could have done in a moment like that where it mattered, where the countdown was all the way going down here, was perfect. Up the Venom and the tether, and then the follow-up through the dance party. Fate of Both Worlds put a stop to it. But even better, man, Eagle Death is such a crazy, entertaining team to see. Completely unorthodox comp, and they're able to make those adjustments. Whereas last week, everyone was looking at them, all right, the Black Panther from Self, etc. But we saw the torch. We saw that Wolverine again coming in from Self, and we saw a performance from Zytex.
Yeah, I mean, Sombo only had 2 deaths there. We saw Sombo die twice within a millisecond against Envy. So what a cleanup job on this map. By the way, is where they lost against Envy in match 2. Just a phenomenal cleanup job there. Zatex 2 just completely putting on a show as well with Self. Again, this duo plays together. Every single chord was striking for the perfect harmony, and Far and Momentum carried great momentum. Even without Loki, was able to get the job done easily with Cloak. There was just nothing they did wrong.
And welcome to the Americas region. Like, are you not entertained? Like, how many of these Venoms have you seen be able to put on a performance to follow up with the synergy that they have with their duelists together? It's just been crazy to see, even with Zatex being in a very aggressive position, to constantly harass Shikigami's backline.
Yeah, I mean, America, welcome to Self. One of the new, just hot rising players who can seem to play just about anything. And it's crazy because Zatex did such an insane job too. But I saw every hero that Self played under his wing. And great job. It just seemed like Shikigami could never get all their ultimates together. I mean, the Groot ult was like 3 team fights, and then they swapped a thing, and it was done.
It was that Luna shish kebab. It was like the god of mischief that was dancing together, and then your Luna just completely obliterated. Like, no one was able to help each other out when Sambo was pushing on there. I feel like it's great to also highlight, like what you just said too, aside from Self being able to swap into these different duelists, that quick swap and awareness probably communicated between this team to go to the Doctor Strange and make that portal at the time that they did, just helped them re-engage perfectly, and then help the players that were still left on the cart at the very end to kind of way to disengage and then re-engage together with the rest of the team.
Yeah, and the quick swaps, you know, Self is going crazy on Hawkeye, but goes to Wolf quickly to counter completely the Groot on the other side, like just giving them no chance. And then how poetic to obviously have, you know, Somble in things with a triple followed by Zatex triple, and that was it. That was the dive masterpiece finish as we see Ego Death move on. And this is not just like America's team that they like watching. I mean, I've talked to streamers, I've talked to other pros, casters, players in the tournament. They love Ego Death. They're a fun squad.
They are. And you know, another player I want to highlight, I mean, we could highlight all of them in general, but specifically Soko was putting in so much damage on that Emma Frost. And yes, of course, it helped out with Zatex too, being on the Psylocke and being able to get the illusion, but Soko was a problem.
Yeah, and this team has had nothing but momentum after that first map loss. And speaking of momentum, we've got momentum here for an interview, and I've got to say right off the bat, absolute huge congratulations, momentum.
Thank you.
I mean, talk to me about how you're feeling as you advance now just one game to the playoffs. You guys, you know, put on a show day 1 and then you go, or day 2, and then you lose to Envy, and people are saying, okay, was it a one-trick wonder? Was there a surprise? Like, tell me about the identity of this team and what is going on behind the scenes there.
Yeah, so when it comes to FlyQuest, we knew we were going to beat them. Envy, we just we didn't really play well, but today and like all our matches moving forward, we can basically play really anything, and we will win as long as we don't lose to ourselves in these matches. And we're just a really, really strong core and a really strong unit. And so I think people will keep doubting. That's fair, but we'll keep winning.
Beautiful set.
I like that a lot. I like the energy too, you know, just being able to let everyone know, like, you know, we have multiple compositions that people aren't expecting, which means that you guys moving on after beating Shiki will put you guys in the run back against FlyQuest. And you said that you feel very confident you guys could take FlyQuest. We actually talked to one of the members of FlyQuest earlier on, and they're looking to get the run back. How does that make you feel?
Let's see. I don't know. Honestly, we're prepared for it. We're prepared. We can let them think what they want. We'll win anyways.
You opened it. You said we knew we were going to beat FlyQuest. Well, you know, that confidence is what you're going to need. Again, if you can beat FlyQuest one more time, you guys are advancing to the playoffs. And we just talked to Techie, but you guys as well. Just so cool to see this team gather up and do what y'all are doing in a completely different way, by putting on a show. And, you know, tell me about, you guys haven't been in the big lights per se for Marvel Rivals Ignite, but when you're down one map, how do you keep everybody calm? Who's on the comms keeping, you know, saying, hey, we know who we are? How do you do that with everything on the line?
It really just comes down to, if we know we didn't play well one map or the first map, then it's like, okay, we need to just mentally readjust, focus up, and we know what we need to do, and we kind of like mentally rehearse and even talk about like, hey, this is what we're gonna do, guys, this is what we need to do. And once you start getting the little bit of flow going at the beginning of a second map, and you start to realize, oh yeah, we remember exactly what we need to do, and then it starts from there, and we kind of roll them.
I really like the trust that you guys have within one another. Like, you guys letting Sambo rock what he does best, you know, being on the Venom. Can you talk about a little bit on how to trust your teammates here? Like, whether you know that they're cooking up something. I know there's communications for you guys too, but having that trust that this could work even if other teams are not running it, that's what makes you guys stand out across every other team that we've had thus far. What advice would you give to somebody who's looking to find that trust, to somebody who may not be playing something that's meta?
When it comes to stuff that's not quote unquote considered meta, it really comes down to just you as a whole team has to be in full agreement that this can work, and you have to see to it that y'all practice with it and don't immediately pivot off into random comps if it doesn't work for a day or for a few scrims and so on. Because no matter what, wins or losses in scrims doesn't matter. It all comes down to match day and when you're prepared to play the quote unquote off meta stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, meta's just a fancy word for opinion, and you guys are showing that you can. Rivals is beautiful because you can play so many different comps. There's so many duels to get the job done. I have to ask, because the people, they're like, we want to see the Wakanda King. When Panther's getting banned, is Self on the comms like, can you hear his anger, or is he like, that's fine, you know what, we have our backup plan?
No, I mean, if they ban Black Panther, they've lost. That's just what the whole comms like. The moment the enemy team bans it, we won.
Yeah, I was saying that too. I told Vicky, I was like, they got rid of Self's Panther, but in return, there's so many other picks and bans that you could go at that position. All I've got to say is we're so excited to watch you guys have that matchup again versus FlyQuest, a team that you've already beat if you're just now checking in. And during this off time here, as you guys gather yourself up, what are you going to do as a team? Are you going to scrim? Are you going to watch? Like, how do you prep for such a big matchup to get into the playoffs?
Let's see. We'll probably do a VOD or two, and depending on when our next match is with them, a scrim. Yeah, absolutely. Nicely
done. Well, hey, Momentum, enjoy the momentum your team showed and enjoy the win, and tell everyone good job over there. We appreciate you coming on, and again, congrats.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love it.